In this video for Positive Maths, we're going to learn about compound interest. So again, we need to go over our keywords and meanings. When we invest or take a loan of money, we are paid with interest, or we pay interest for the use of this money. The money that we invest or the money that we take out is called the principal. The percentage at which we earn or pay interest is called the rate. The money that we receive or pay at the end of a certain period is called the amount. So we're going to use this example to understand compound interest. Okay, so Eva invested €500 in a bank at 4% per annum. Again, recalling that per annum really means per year. We need to calculate the amount after 3 years. So let's go through the steps. The first thing we need to do is identify the important information. So our principal is €500, our rate is 4%, and our time is 3 years. Step 2, we need to calculate the interest. Step 3, we need to calculate the amount. And step 4 is really repeating step 2 and step 3 for 3 years. Okay, so the basic concept is that we'll take year 1. We invest a principal, okay? We add on the interest to find the amount. So that's the amount for the end of year 1. Okay, this amount then, so we'll say the amount for year 1, okay, is now the new principal. So we have the principal plus the interest is going to give us the amount for year 2. So again, then for the start of year 3, we have the new principal is the amount from year 2. So the money we have left from year 2 plus the interest will give us the amount at the end of year 3. And this is the final amount that we are looking for. Compound interest is this. When we learnt about annual interest, we calculate the interest, I, and we add it on after every year. So we're adding on the same amount. Okay, but in this case, this first I'm going to call I1, I2, and I3. So this is the interest. Okay, this is 4% of P. Interest 2 is 4% of our principal for year 2, and interest 3 is 4% of our principal for year 3. Okay, so it's really important to be able to tell the difference between annual interest and compound interest. So let's complete the example to see how this really works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is calculate our interest for year 1. So we have €500 multiplied by 4%, which is going to give us €20. So therefore, our amount at the end of year 1 is going to be €500 plus 20, which gives us €520. Okay, so this is, we'll call it A1. So that's the amount at the end of year 1. So this money goes into the bank at the start of year 2. So this is our new principal. So we need to calculate 4% of our new principal, which is going to be €20.80. Now we calculate our amount, so the money we have at the end of year 2. and we get 5.40 and 80 cents. So our amount at the end of year 2 is our principal for year 3. So we need to calculate 4%. We need to calculate our interest. It's 21.63. And we add it on to find our amount, so the money we have at the end of year 3. So we get 561.63. So our answer really, calculate the amount after 3 years. Our answer is 561.63 cents. Okay, so let's recap. First thing we calculated was year 1. 500 was our principal and 520 was our amount. So P being the money invested, so at the start, A being the amount at the end. For year 2, we now have 520 is our principal. We still keep our rate of 4%, and 540 and 80 cents is our amount at the end of year 2. So this is the new principal. We calculate our interest, we add it on, and we find the amount at the end of year 3. So 561.63. So the next problem solving activity. We have €800 is invested for 3 years at 4% per annum compound interest. Fill in the table to calculate what the investment will amount to. Okay, so this is just a table we fill in, and it's the exact same as our last problem. But let's fill in some of the details. The principal then of the first year. So that's our €800. The interest for the first year and the amount at the end of the first year. Okay, so we have 800 multiplied by 4%. So our amount at the end of year 1 is 832. Okay, our principal then at the second year is the amount from first year. So we have 832. Now we calculate our interest. So we get 33.28. We add them together to get our amount at the end of the second year. So it's 865.28. So again, this becomes the principal for year 3. We calculate our interest again. We get 34.61. So the amount at the end of year 3 is 899.89. Some students find this table really helpful for doing these questions because it's very clear to see what you need to do. So if you do find it useful, but you're not given the table in an exam situation or when you're doing your homework, you can write it out very easily. So principal interest amount for the required number of years. So you need to find the compound interest for each of the following. So you're given your principal, your years, and your interest rate for all 5 questions. So pause the video at this stage and try a few of the examples. Okay, the next problem. A businessman borrowed €11,500 from a bank at 11% per annum compound interest What did he owe the bank at the end of 3 years? So this is a worded version of the problems we've seen before. Again, pause the video and see if you can calculate the right answer. For more information, visit www.PositiveMaths.ie. You can email us at info@PositiveMaths.ie,